Hi everyone, and welcome back to Complicated Relationships Reddit Stories. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. Now let's see what the story is about today. Okay, today's story is titled, I Caught Her Red-Handed in Her Car at a Parking Lot. We have been married for 14 years. For the past few years, since my wife got promoted and started making more money, I have noticed that she has been distant. But lately, once the shutdown happened, we were all forced to be home in quarantine. Sometime in April, I saw a drastic change in her. She told me that she could not handle the shutdown and felt completely trapped. In the beginning of our marriage, we were very compatible, have similar interests, and agreed on most things. There have always been problems in our marriage, but it was easy to avoid them with the distraction of our work. These issues eventually led us to sleep in separate bedrooms, yet we were intimate from time to time, and she is still a good mother to our 3 children. Before COVID happened, we would fight about our problems. It was almost like she was more irritated than usually. She would make everything a big fight. She suggested that we need marriage counseling, and I agreed because I wanted things to go back to the way it was. She would go to rage and rant about how bad I was over the entirety of our marriage. I told her I loved her, and I owned up to my part of making her feel neglected. She insists that I don't care about her and wanted her space. I was upfront with her and asked her if she still wants to stay in this marriage, and she assured me that she wants the marriage and that she wanted us to resolve things with a counselor. My kids, although young, have good sense of our problems, and I can see how it is making them depressed. I felt I had to go with my gut and that there was something else going on. So, I did my own detective work. My gut tells me that there was more serious problem than our already broken marriage. I noticed that she never leaves the room without her phone. When we are watching TV, she always seems to be on her phone. She also sits on the couch and not pay attention to me or the TV, eagerly waiting for the next text, and sometimes she suddenly leaves the house to take a car ride saying she is bored. I am sure she is cheating and only be able to notice things since we are stuck in the house. I know something is wrong, but I want to be sure, so I ordered a voice-activated recorder and installed it in her car while she was sleeping. 2 days later, I checked the voice-activated recorder and listened to it. I can only hear my wife speaking though. She wasn't with anyone, but she was definitely talking to someone on the phone. She was discussing some things about work and how she misses him and how she cannot wait to see him. It appears that they planned to meet at a hotel parking lot closer to our house. When she arrived at what I presumed is the meeting location, she stopped and she stepped out of the car because I could hear the car door close shut. After listening to this, I was ready to blow a gasket. Words cannot explain how angry I was. At first, I wanted to confront her. I felt betrayed and humiliated. At that moment, I knew my marriage was over. But I still need stronger evidence to remove any doubt on my mind. I have evidence that she is having a physical relationship. I can tell by the conversations that it is somebody from work. She used to invite me for her work family gatherings. But since she got the promotion 2 years ago, she stopped inviting me and I never asked why. If possible, I planned to catching her in the act. But unfortunately, she did not step out of the house for another late night car ride for the next 2 weeks. I had to sit quietly and act normal, knowing fully well that the woman I have loved for the past 15 years is cheating on me. I also installed a GPS tracker in her car. This came with a phone app. It records her car location and could be accessed through my phone. 2 weeks later, we have started going back to work. One evening, when we were watching TV with kids, she was on the phone as usual. And then she said she was going for a late night car drive to clear her head. I have been waiting for this moment for some time now. I felt relieved because catching her red-handed is what I was planning. So, as soon as I heard the car leaves the driveway, I opened the app and saw her car was at the same parking lot close to our house. I assumed that they booked a hotel room there. How stupid she could be to choose her cheating location so close to our house. Is this carelessness, or have I been so blind that she disregarded the fact that I will find out? I got into my car and drove to the hotel. I saw about 5 cars in the parking lot. It is normally not a busy hotel, but it looked unusually quiet. I noticed that there were no lights on the lobby, so I realized that the hotel is still shut down. I noticed my wife's car parked at a secluded area, and there was an SUV parked next to hers. My heart started beating when I realized that they may be in her car or his. I walked towards their direction to see if I could make out whether they are still in the car. I realized that they are not in the car because the driver and the passenger side of the car is empty. The thought that went on my mind was how she could leave the house and the kids for some cheap fun at a parking lot with a stranger. The closer I got to their cars, I noticed a rhythmic movement of the SUV. At this moment, all the emotions that I've been holding back for the past few weeks just got to me at once. I lost it and I ran towards the car. They were both at the back of the SUV. The window glass was tinted, so I could not see anything. I tried to open the door, but the door was locked and I noticed both of their shadows as they jumped off the back seat. The man got on the driver's seat and drove away before I could break the window. I couldn't believe the level that my wife has dropped down to, being effed in a parking lot by a stranger. I felt I have failed in my mission to catch them with their pants down. But at least she cannot deny now. With a heavy heart, I walked back to my car and drove home. She didn't come back until 5 a.m. in the morning. I didn't want to cause a scene because my kids were at home. As soon as she walks in, I noticed she looked exhausted. Her body language reeks with guilt and shame, and she could not look me in the eye. The first words out of her mouth was, "I can explain everything. It's not what it looks like." I told her I knew she was meeting him on several occasions. She said she knew the guy for about 7 months, but she wouldn't tell me who he was or that she works with him. She said they both have marriage problems and felt lonely, so happy to help each other. She said it got physical only once, which was when I caught them. She became defensive, saying that we have been having marriage problems and she has been feeling stressed. She said she didn't want to split, she wants to continue working on us, but she needed to be left alone right now. She also said she will not stop seeing this person and feels the support from him is justified given how bad our marriage has been. I also live in a no-fault state for divorce, so I need the proper legal advice first so I won't get wiped out in the process. I really need to protect the assets I own prior to marriage. I want to tell the other man's wife and mess up his family for what he did to mine. After 15 years, I guess I did not know her as well as I thought I did. She has big issues, a loser, a liar, and too weak to seek help before stepping out of the marriage for a quick fix. I believe karma will catch up to her. I'm not asking about reconciliation. I may sound weak, but I want to understand why the affair happened and get closure and move on. At some point, I have to forgive my wife or the anger will eat me away for the rest of my life. Edit, she feels it was necessary and justified to get out of a long time loveless marriage, and that is how she explained it to everyone. She will most likely to move on with her AP. They hold senior positions and make a good income, so life ahead together looks pretty rosy in their eyes. I've been abandoned for a much more successful man who will eventually step into my role as a stepdad to my 3 daughters, all under the age of 13, and they are still very impressionable. They both seem to be invested in this relationship, especially my wife. I just told my mother-in-law about this. To my surprise, mother-in-law said, "Don't expect that we will always side with our daughter. We have values and believe cheating is wrong, and if she is doing so, we will tell her she is wrong." She told me not to quit on the marriage and asked me to try and work on things. One day, I left work early and went to my wife's office without her knowledge. I found the SUV in the parking lot, waited until the POS finished work. I then followed him for 25 miles to his house. It turns out that he is married with 3 kids. Sounds like a lot for him to lose. I also have his wife's info, including a picture of her and the phone number. So I finally called the other man's wife. I told her about the parking lot incident and she connected the dots on the late night trips that he is making. She was very angry and wanted to call her husband and confront him immediately. I suggested that she'll think it through and confront him face to face. She said they have a summer vacation planned next week with the extended families and kids, so wasn't sure of the timing for confronting. It's been a couple of days that she knows, but not sure she confronted yet because my wife has said nothing. Long story short, I'm still living in the same house with my soon-to-be ex-wife. She will be served divorce papers this week and I'm trying to be civil as possible because of the kids. And I don't want them to see us arguing. End of the story. There isn't an update yet, but I will make sure that I will update you as soon as I see one. Thanks for listening. Please like, comment and share the story if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.